Coming up, gentlemen, this show is for you. We'll show you how you can be healthy and enjoy red meat, how to keep the hair on your head, and what your body composition says about your health. Plus, we'll help you train like a professional fighter.
All that and more is today on SoFlo Health. Hello and welcome to SoFlo Health. I'm Hunter Frankie, and this week's episode is all about men's health. But ladies, you're gonna be able to get something from this too. But guys, when we talk about health and working out, you're probably thinking about a lot of this. Bicep curls, in the gym, lifting weights, and that's fine, but it's just what we're used to. There are certainly more effective ways to work out and some new ways if you're just tired of the old ways, and we're gonna get into some of those today. We'll talk about the different foods that you can eat, how to keep the hair on your head, and different training styles and ways to improve your overall health. And we're gonna start that right here at Daru Strong with Avi. He's gonna teach us about some breath work. Then we'll get with Phil Daru later and get into some serious workouts. So I'm gonna rack these and meet Avi. This is Avi, and this is the first part of our combat sports performance workout. So Avi, where do we start? What are we doing?
Yeah, so we're going to be working on your breathing biomechanics. We're going to try to get you to breathe in a way that feels functional, calming, but also connected. So that way when you're getting put through the workout with Phil, you'll know exactly how to slow things down internally when the pressure picks up within the workout. Our breathing system is the way we can speed things up or slow things down. In essence, you can think of how you breathe as the remote control for your nervous system. Easy exhale. Good. Now what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to tilt this way, and I want you to think about breathing right here. Big
Okay.
inhale. Relax on the exhale. Now, the other way, and the important thing here too is to not crunch forward, but to almost lean back and create space and awareness into this side body. By breathing through the nose, you're also allowing your body to relax a bit more. When we breathe through the mouth, we're typically using an upregulatory style of breathing there, but when we breathe through the nose, we're allowing our diaphragm to get more activated, we're allowing the exhale to calm us down, we're allowing ourselves to slow down and be more in control of the breath. Go ahead and put this right in between your shoulder blades.
Yep.
And now relax and open it up. And just think, all those hours you might spend at your computer, at your desk, on your phone, this is gonna allow you space to open up your chest, your throat, and you just take a big breath in, and again, stay in the ribs, nice and easy, and let it go. Good.
Excellent. Well, Avi, thank you so much.
Yeah.
If people want to learn more about what it is that you do and you offer, how can they?
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram at Avilu, A-V-I-L-U, and then I'll be doing stuff with Phil as well up here in Deerfield, but I'm based in Miami, and we'll be hosting workshops down there as well.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot. Chef Jonathan, good to see you.
Hi Hunter, how you doing? Welcome back.
I'm doing great. You've got some beautiful cuts of meat in front of you, and we're here to learn from the master himself. So what makes these meats different?
Yeah.
So you want to start with the New York strip?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being here at
Sure.
Toro Toro.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure for me to have you here. So definitely, let's talk a little bit about this meat. As you can see, the marble and the fatties of this one is very rich. After we have the tomahawk, which is a beautiful piece of meat, as you can see, the beauty of this one is the bone.
What about this one here?
Yeah, definitely here we have a picanha.
When it comes to the health aspect of meat, a lot of people are afraid of meat, especially red meat.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it can be a part of a healthy diet in moderation, but also understanding what you're eating and what you're eating it with.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Absolutely, yeah, I'm agree with that. We always need to balance. Everything in excess is not good, right? We cannot eat the same protein every day. That's why we have diets, and we need to balance that.
Sure.
And part of the diet as well in a normal diet is the red meats. So we have different ones, and always it's good to see how you balance that.
Excellent. Now, when it comes to cooking these, how do you like to season them?
In the batter, I put some pepper, garlic, and a little bit of salt, and also the herbs. So after, you can brush it, all of them, right? And start getting the flavors there.
Perfect. All right, well, I'm gonna let you get to cooking, and then I'll see you in a minute.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Chef, this looks amazing.
Thank you, thank
It
you. I hope you
smells
enjoy
amazing.
It. Yeah.
I'm sure I will.
So you see how tender
There
it
it is.
is.
Wow. I'm getting to the tomahawk here.
Yeah, the tomahawk, one of the favorites, of course.
Yes. Extremely popular these days, especially. Oh, wow. That's really good.
It's almost melting in your mouth.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time and for educating us on the different cuts of meat. And this is just a small place to get started for those of you looking out for your health. Now you have a better understanding of what goes into all the meats. The flavor is immaculate across all of them, as long as you prepare them well, like Chef did here. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, welcome anytime, and looking to see you soon here.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm going to just eat more of this.
If you've experienced hair loss, you won't want to miss what this restoration surgeon has to share. And we'll find out what your body composition says about your health when SoFlo Health returns.
Focusing on you. Innovations in modern medicine. From your team of experts at UHealth, the University of Miami Health System.
For years, Susie Bobenreith felt completely congested and had a nagging cough.
Constantly had like a bit of a headache. I felt I was super stuffed up.
She went to see Dr. Karina Levine at UHealth, a rhinologist who specializes in sinus and skull-based surgery.
Chronic sinusitis is a disease of the sinuses, and so everybody has sinuses in their face, and those sinuses can have swelling and inflammation, and when that happens, it causes a backup of the mucus.
The chronic condition causes uncomfortable symptoms.
Nasal obstruction, also nasal drainage or postnasal drip with lots of kind of thick mucus, but also smell loss and facial pressure.
Susie had CRS, or severe chronic rhinosinusitis. She needed surgery to open up her sinuses.
Talk about UHealth's multidisciplinary approach in treating a patient with this condition.
We involve facial plastics and infectious disease, as well as our really excellent rhinology and team, which includes nurses, residents, fellows, and myself.
Dr. Levine also uncovered a rare bacteria causing Susie's sinus infections and got her on the right treatment. Now she's back to her active life and feels great.
Thanks to the doc and everybody at UHealth.
Welcome back to SoFlo Health. I'm Hunter Frankie, and this is our special on men's health. We've learned about different cuts of meat and breathwork so far. Now, watch this.
Most of the time, people tend to treat their bodies the same when it comes to health overall.
Yeah, and that's fine most of the time.
But it is pretty much different for men and women.
Yeah, and that's why we're at Infinity Sports Institute. Last week, Olivia was with Madison. This week, I'm going to meet Hector, and we're going to find out what's different for the guys.
Now, you saw that show. Check out this one.
Hector, good to see you again.
Good seeing you.
Hector, a quick reminder, if people didn't see it last week or the last time we were together, what's a DEXA scan?
A DEXA scan is a low-level X-ray unit, and what it does is it scans your entire body, and it gives us a ton of information. How much muscle mass you have, how much bone you have, and how healthy that bone is, as well as how much fat you have. And the fat is broken down in two forms. One is visceral fat, the fat that we find in your abdominal cavity, which is surrounding your organs, and your subcutaneous fat, the fat that we can see.
And we're going to take a deep dive into more of how that applies to men's health, because this episode is about men's health. Last week was women's health. So is there anything else I need to know?
For now, no. Let's just get you started.
Hector, I'm not new to the DEXA scan thanks to you, but for this show, we want to talk about what men need to look for in results like this. What do you look for men?
The number one number I look at is the android to gynoid ratio. Android to gynoid ratio is the ratio of how your fat is distributed in the body. Men tend to be more android, women gynoid. So android means that you carry most of your fat above your hips. Gynoid, you carry your fat below your hips.
So say a man comes in here and he sees that he's got a lot of body fat, subcutaneous especially, or visceral fat.
Yes.
What are the things that he should be concerned about?
With subcutaneous fat, you want to look at just standard lifestyle. Let's start moving, let's start eating a little better. That's nothing to worry too much about.
Okay.
Right? Now, visceral fat, when the visceral fat scores are higher than 100, you're considered a high-risk patient or high-risk client. Now you're more susceptible to comorbidities, metabolic issues, heart issues, diabetes. Now, you have high visceral fat for a couple reasons. Number one would be hormonal issues or hormonal imbalances. Secondly is eating a lot of processed foods. A lot of processed foods are considered toxic to our body. So if you're consuming all this toxicity, the way your body protects itself is by creating fat to protect the organs and the rest of the body.
Oh, okay.
So your body holds a lot of toxins in the fat. Thirdly is if you have some form of food sensitivity. And if you want to be a strong, healthy, energetic man, you need to know what these things are.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for giving us a better picture of what it takes to get men's health in order. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
So you can Google us, Infinity Sports Institute, or you can check us out on Instagram @_ISP_.
Hector, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Always a pleasure. Men can be stubborn about their health. We often say, this aching pain that I have, it's just a nagging pain. It'll go away. Or that weird heart thing, it's fine, I promise. Or I don't really feel like going to the gym today, I'll just go another day. But there's one area where men often pay quick attention to their health, and that's when their hair starts to fall out. Now, I have experienced a little bit of hair loss myself over the years, like a lot of men. But today, we're going to get some answers from Dr. Nussbaum of Miami Hair Institute right here on Bird Road. Let's go meet the doctor. As promised, this is Dr. Nussbaum. Doctor, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks so much for having us, Hunter.
Of course. So let's get right into it. We're talking about men's health on this episode of SoFlo Health. So what does men's hair say about their health?
Hair loss in men is extremely common, with approximately 70% of men experiencing hair loss at some point in their lives. It certainly has a genetic predisposition. It can be from your mother or your father's side. Other factors can also be associated with hair loss, such as the recent fad in anti-aging and hormone replacement therapies. A lot of those can also accelerate hair loss.
And what do we do about it?
These days, hair transplant surgery, when it's done correctly, can leave completely undetectable and natural results.
And how does somebody know if they're a candidate for something like this?
It's important to go to a doctor who I believe exclusively performs hair transplant surgery and treats medical hair loss. And basically what we need to do is evaluate the patient's pattern of hair loss, and more important, look in the donor area, which is in the back and sides of the head, where the baldest of bald men never lose the hair.
In fact, earlier we were able to take a look at my scalp.
We were.
And we were able to see the difference there. So let's take a look.
Absolutely. And this is what hair loss specialists use to make diagnosis in hair loss disorders. And particularly in yourself right now, we're looking at your donor area.
Right.
So if you look at this image, what you can see is that all the hairs are very uniform in size. There's not real thin ones mixed in there. And basically what it tells us is that you're an excellent candidate if you ever did need to do any hair transplant.
Sure.
Now we're going to focus on the balding or thinning area, and we'll see sort of the differences.
Wow, look at that.
And what you can see in this image is that now you see a mixture of thick and thin hairs. So this would be the area that potentially could be treated either with medical therapy, as we spoke about, or possibly a very small hair restoration.
So we took a look at my scalp, and what are some of the options that people have that maybe aren't surgical?
Some of those options include oral and topical medications, also platelet-rich plasma injections, low-level laser therapy, and some vitamin and mineral supplementation as well.
And Dr. Nussbaum, if people would like to learn more about what you do here at Miami Hair Institute, how can they?
So people feel free to reach out to us via our phone or our website, also our Instagram handles. We're always available for consultations, and we'd love to evaluate you in person in our offices.
Well, Dr. Nussbaum, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much, Hunter. It was great to be here.
Of course.
Come right back if you want to learn how to train like a professional mixed martial artist after the break on SoFlo Health.
Welcome back to SoFlo Health. I'm Hunter Frankie. This is Phil DeRue of DeRue Strong. We're doing the men's workout today, and when I say the workout, that begins now, because earlier was just the warm-up, so let's get into the workout.
All right, so now we're gonna work our way into low-level plyometrics or power training.
These are called pogo jumps, pretty aptly named if you ask me. The key is to jump off the ground, but to keep your toes pointed to the sky. Phil had me do them forward, backward, and laterally. You can do them for distance, time, or until you've had enough.
For people watching right now, they're like, I can't do that.
Yeah, of course.
What are the principles that they can take away from what we've shown them?
Well, as far as what we're doing here, we're just trying to activate the soft tissue, right? We're also trying to get tendon stiffness. That's gonna be important when you're trying to produce explosive power or speed or running. So you wanna create that tendon stiffness, one, to help you propel and have better performance, but two, to reduce the risk of injury.
And how can my 70 or 80-year-old grandmother, grandfather use the similar principle for light movement?
So I would probably take them off the ground, or I would take them off of a standing position, and I would work into band work. So you can take a band and you can still do your movements, right? It's not gonna give you the maximal amount of tension, but it's still working the soft
same
tissue.
principle.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've got just a bit more. So keep watching SoFlo Health. We'll be back with Phil DeRue at DeRue Strong. Losing my breath, but I'll catch it, and we'll see you in a bit. I'm once again joined by Dr. Levy. Thanks again for being with us.
My pleasure.
So over your career, what sort of advancements have you seen in neurosurgery and taking care of people's spines?
No, tremendous advancements in 25 years. For example, just even the building that we're in, which is a brand new rehabilitation building, this has some of the latest advancements in rehabilitation equipment and strategies to get people back on their feet. From a surgical perspective, a lot of the things that we do now that used to be big open procedures, we can do minimally invasive. And what does that mean to the patient? It means that they can potentially have their surgeries done as outpatients or go home the next day, have less pain, get back to work and doing sports again quicker.
And what sort of technology advancement have you seen to help aid that process as well?
A lot of it has to do with the retractors we use to get into surgery, and the lighting and the visualization, the amount of things that we can see on a microscopic level. All of those things have improved patient recovery after spine surgery.
Wow. So what sort of outcomes can people expect from going through something like this?
So again, it depends a little bit about what is the condition we're treating, and not everybody is a candidate for minimally invasive surgery. You have to really pick and choose the right procedure for the patient. And again, a lot has to do with the patient's substrate, you know, how old they are, what medical condition they're in.
Well, if somebody wants to get back on their feet and back into action quicker, and they would like to learn more, how can they?
Go on the web and look up uhealthjacksonspine.com or reach us at 305-243-6946.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure.
I'm joined again by Mitch of Panther and San Pedro, and we're talking about health and law. We've been going over a lot of subjects over the previous segments we've done together, but today we're talking about critical injury, or God forbid somebody passes away in some sort of accident. What happens in that scenario? What do we do about it?
Well, that scenario in our term is called a wrongful death claim. A wrongful death claim is when somebody dies wrongfully. They're killed in an auto accident, in a medical malpractice situation, in some other premises liability situation. A wrongful death case is different because your parties are different. The person is deceased. They hopefully will have an heir, somebody that can pursue the claim for them because they're no longer around. Right. And so who's entitled to collect damages for them? In a wrongful death case, you have to generally open up an estate. An estate consists of a personal representative, that person that can do all the legal documentation, take care of everything for you.
And is this something that needs to be set up or arranged ahead of time to be effective?
So a wrongful death case, again, as I said, takes into account an estate being opened, a personal representative being assigned. You can't just pursue it. We generally work with probate, trust, and estate attorneys that know how to open up an estate and do it correctly. If you pass away without a will, then there's a process and procedure that goes away. But generally, it's not the kind of thing you plan for or prepare for, but once you pass away, you get to the attorney opens up the estate. The lawsuit can't be filed filed in the name of the deceased because they legally don't exist, but it gets filed on behalf of such and such as the estate of, or personal representative of the estate of. So we work with a team of lawyers to make sure that the proper results are had, the proper formatting is done, and it gets done correctly. This is not something you can do by yourself. This is something you clearly need a lawyer to work with.
Yes, and this is definitely an area where you want to speak with an expert. If people would like to learn more, how can they?
They can contact us at Panther and San Pedro. We have a team of lawyers, as I said, that we work with. Sometimes we can do it in-house, sometimes we refer it out to experts, but we have a company and a business called the Panther and San Pedro Network. We work with different lawyers that do probate, that do trust, that do estates. The actual case itself, the wrongful death case, is one that we would handle. Go online, ask our frequently asked questions under pantherlaw.com, or give me a call. I'm happy to speak to you about it.
It's a tough subject, but it's important to hear, so thank you so much for the great info.
Thank you.
Welcome back to SoFlo Health. It's the men's health episode. That's Phil DeRue. He's been putting me through the ringer today. We're on the next part of the workout. I'm holding a 16-pound medicine ball. What am I doing with it, Phil?
Now Phil has me doing med ball slams. He explained that you can go heavier for more time or for more reps. Whatever you do, don't stop until it's time. Slow and controlled is the name of the game. The key here is to pivot the back foot and make sure you reach all the way overhead and slam down.
All right, and last but not least, any advice for the men? This is a men's health show. We've gone over different kinds of meats, hair loss, workouts. What would you say to the men out there looking to be healthy?
I mean, primarily what you want to do is, one, work your heart, work your lungs, work, your diaphragm, right? Be able to breathe efficiently. That's why we have Avi here.
Yeah.
You also want to improve on your strength. So building up that calcium, right? Building up bone mineral density. That's going to give you longevity, right? Improving on your grip strength, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Right? That's another key factor. And then also working the compound lifts that are going to enhance not only your muscle, but also your hormonal function. So those are our key points that you want to.
Yeah. So breathe, eat well, get some strength training in there, get some mental training in there.
Get some cardio.
And get the cardio and make sure to work your heart. And I think the breathing, which is a perfect place to have started with Avi, is a way to bring all that stuff together. So,
absolutely.
All right, well, we've got more working out to do, but that's all we have for this week's episode of SoFlo Health. Thank you so much for watching. As always, you can watch previous episodes of SoFlo Health on SoFloShows.com. You can follow us using @SoFlo Health to share with us what you're doing to stay healthy. Until next week, it's goodbye, good health. That's Phil DeRue. We've got more to do.
Next week on SoFlo Health, we'll learn how you can defend yourself like a bare knuckle boxer. Then, we'll visit this famous gas station restaurant that's surprisingly healthy. It's all right here on SoFlo Health next week, and we'll see you then.